This is 69 News Live at Sunrise. Your life, your world, your news. 69 News Live at Sunrise starts now.
Coming up on 69 News at Sunrise, a dog is tied to a tree and badly beaten in Monroe County, and now officials are looking for whoever might be responsible.
Plus, raising the speed limit. A top lawmaker wants to speed things up on the state's highways, but not everyone is on board.
And we're entering day 14 of the partial government shutdown, and still no progress. We'll have the very latest. Good morning, everyone. I'm Eve Tannery.
And I'm Haciel Cordoba. We'll have today's top stories and more in just a moment.
But first, we're going to take a look at the roads. And for that, we head up to Rick Edwards in the traffic center. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, Eve and Haciel. Thank you very much. We're heading into New Jersey on 22 and actually moving now, and we've cleared the congestion. We were at a dead stop for a few minutes. They've stepped up the project a little bit here on the bridge work either side of East and Phillipsburg Bridge, and we were at a complete stop for just a few minutes there. Got the stack up all the way back to Cemetery Curve. Now, once we get the morning crowd in here, we'll have the usual congestion. As you see here, a bit of volume moving through the area right now. Elsewhere on 22, we're in pretty good shape. In South Whitehall Township past Cedar Crest Boulevard, 309 looks good south of 22, either side of Tillman Street. No trouble getting to the Turnpike interchange or the merge with Interstate 78. We look good on 222 here by 183 in the corner of Byrne Township. No reported trouble on the 2-lane through Richmond and Maiden Creek, starting to get a little more crowded now. 78 looks good through the northern townships of Berks County. That's your traffic, brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Rick Edwards in the 69 News Traffic Center.
Thanks, Rick. A Monroe County animal shelter is looking for answers after a dog is found beaten and tied to a tree.
Now, officials say Lacey, a 3-year-old puggle mix, was discovered last week. Workers at the Awesome Animal Shelter in Stroudsburg say the pup has bruises all over her body, fleas and mange. Officials say it could be a few weeks before Lacey can be adopted.
It appears the dog was either kicked, pushed around and stuff like that, because these black and blues, again, don't come overnight.
Officials say Lacey's microchip shows that she was adopted by a woman from Stroudsburg nearly 2 years ago. If you have any information on the case, you're asked to call the shelter.
Kutztown University police are investigating after reports of a rape on campus. Officials say the victim stepped forward yesterday and said she was attacked inside Dixon Hall Thursday. Investigators say the woman knew the suspect. A campus-wide alert was sent to students on Saturday night.
Firefighters had to act quickly to contain a truck fire in Schuylkill County. The fire broke out on a box truck outside of Kipp's Auto Service in the 2000 block of Market Street here in West Brunswick Township yesterday afternoon. Officials say part of the wall of the shop caught fire, but crews were able to stop that fire from spreading inside. Nobody was reported injured. And officials in Berks County are looking into what caused a fire at an apartment building. These pictures were sent in to us by a 69 News viewer. The fire broke out around 2 o'clock yesterday morning on 4th Street in Burnville. Officials say 9 units were affected, but it's not clear how many people were displaced. Officials do say that everyone made it out safely.
Police in Northampton County say a man accused of robbing a hotel was a regular. Officials say 26-year-old Eric Scher was taken into custody at his apartment in Bethlehem on Saturday. Police say he robbed the Comfort Inn on 25th Street in Palmer Township on Friday night. Police say Scher walked into the lobby and demanded cash, and he held his hand under his shirt to indicate that he had a gun. Police say that he got away with some cash. Officials say hotel personnel were able to identify Scher because he had stayed at the hotel in the past. He's facing several charges, including robbery.
Well, the morning commute could soon get a little bit faster.
A top Pennsylvania senator proposed legislation to raise the legal speed limit to 70 miles per hour on interstates and the PA Turnpike. But some residents are saying not so fast. Catherine Hawley has a story.
It's an idea that's got engines revving on both sides. Should drivers on Pennsylvania interstates be legally allowed to go 70 miles per hour?
I think that'd be stupid.
In the right areas, I think it's appropriate.
That's the side Senate President pro tempore Joe Scarnati is on. He recently announced plans to introduce legislation increasing Pennsylvania's maximum allowable speed limit from 65 to 70 miles per hour. Scarnati says the higher speed would make traffic move better and make the delivery of goods more efficient. But some local drivers say they're not convinced raising the speed limit 5 miles per hour would make a big difference.
I think they're pretty much doing those speed limits now, so I don't think it will make much of a difference to them.
Since the federal government repealed the nationwide 55-mile-per-hour speed limit in 1995, 34 states have set speed limits of at least 70, with 16 states capping speeds at 75 miles per hour.
I think by upping the speed limit, you're really just upping the flow of traffic.
Other motorists think people might abuse a higher limit.
There's enough people dying from car accidents every year, and I don't think they should do it.
Critics say research is clear that driving faster leads to more crashes. Folks against the idea also wonder how our government could fund replacing hundreds of speed limit signs across the state.
It's going to cost a lot of money to do that. I know that for a fact.
Under the proposal, speeds would not be increased without justification by Highway Department studies. Catherine Hawley, 69 News.
And what do you think about upping the speed limit to 70 miles per hour? Let us know on our Facebook pages or send us a tweet at 69 News.
An Amber Alert has now been canceled for 9 teens who went missing from a New Mexico facility for troubled youth. Officials say the teens disappeared from the Tierra Blanca Ranch on Friday. 4 of them were found in their parents' custody on Saturday. The other 5 were found yesterday, also with their parents. Police say they will be interviewing those teens because they received reports of abuse.
A 9-year-old Minnesota boy who recently hitched a plane ride to Las Vegas is back home. Officials say he arrived in Minneapolis last night, where officers were waiting for him to get off the plane. Police say the boy's mother actually works at the airport where he sneaked onto the plane. His father says his son does have a behavioral problem and has had some run-ins with the law in the past.
All right, it's 6:06. It's weather time once again.
Yeah, let's head over to the Weather Center. Matt, you were saying Wednesday there's a chance for some little rain coming in?
Yeah, it looks like Wednesday now, the front a little bit faster now. As far as amounts of rain, it doesn't look terribly impressive as of this point. So overall, I think the week as a whole looks pretty good. As a matter of fact, temperatures for at least the first 3 days of the week look to be above normal, and probably Thursday as well. So we'll keep an eye on things for you. Temperatures right now in the upper 40s and low 50s. Stroudsburg's now at 47. Lehigh Valley up to 49, so up 2 degrees. Pottsville is at 48. Reading at 50 degrees. Harrisburg commuters 53 there. And most of western New Jersey within a degree or 2 of that 50-degree mark. So it's not a bad start. We're mainly clear or partly cloudy unless you're seeing some of that fog, which has not been a huge problem, but there is a little bit of fog here and there, so you could run into that on your way to work, but most places okay. 49 is the temperature. Dew point 46. You can see the humidity at 89%. Winds are calm. The pressure is still steady at 30.37 with high pressure remaining in control. All right, in New York, partly sunny and 68 if you're heading that way. Headed toward Philly or watching us from there, partly sunny skies in the afternoon. High is 69 degrees. So pretty good looking start to the work and school week. There is some shower activity that's not that far away. It's in north central and western Pennsylvania, but that's the extent of it. You can see the nation as a whole pretty stormy out here in the plains, the Rockies, and into the deep south, mostly in Texas and Oklahoma. Some showers there. There'll be snow flying once again in those same places that saw the blizzard last week. Wyoming into parts of Colorado, Nebraska, and western South Dakota will see some snow. For us, you can see a little closer to home some of that shower activity, which is not that far. Now, here's a good look at things. Now, you'll notice the orientation of this. It's not moving this way in our direction. The rain's actually heading toward the north and east. Not that this is a lot anyway, but this shower activity heading toward New York State. So we don't expect that to affect the area. So basically, again, a little bit of fog to start. Otherwise, sort of that times of clouds and sun type of setup through the day today. Temperatures will be averaging above normal into the upper 60s for afternoon highs. Here's the setup on the satellite and in the national service map, you can see that good-looking storm system back toward the west of us. There's not a whole lot happening. Again, as the frontal boundary approaches on Wednesday, we see an opportunity for a bit of that rain to occur. There are some timing differences amongst the models. Some would suggest it could come in as early as the morning. Others would suggest probably waits until the afternoon. So we'll iron out the details, but it does look like the one day to keep the umbrella handy would be on Wednesday. But mild conditions remaining in place across the area as far as our midweek snapshot showers and storms approaching from the west. Here's your forecast. Some patchy fog to start. Otherwise, times of clouds and sun. The afternoon high is 69 degrees, northeast wind averaging 3 to 6 miles per hour. Overnight lows into the 40s, partly cloudy. Watch for patchy fog to develop later on tonight. Winds just light and variable tomorrow. Temperatures into the low 70s. Some fog to start. Otherwise, the sun should win out over the clouds. Tuesday looks like a nice day. Wednesday, mostly cloudy, still mild at 71. Again, an opportunity for a bit of that rain to move in, especially in the afternoon. Then we'll turn out partly sunny Thursday at 68. A little bit cooler, but for now looks dry Friday into Saturday. Hasiel and Eve, back over to you.
Matt, thank you. Well, flu season has arrived.
Still to come this morning, we've got tips on how to keep yourself healthy this time of year.
Watch for choppy trading this week as the shutdown standoff in Washington continues. And by next year, you may be able to get Netflix through your cable box. It's all coming up in this morning's Bloomberg Business Report.
And coming up in our 8 o'clock hour, a preview of this year's Lehigh Valley Beatles Showcase when today's Music Monday guests join us live. Stay with us.
It's been 2 weeks and there's still no deal to fully reopen the government. Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid and Republican Leader Mitch McConnell say they've sat down to work a compromise. Both lawmakers say they are at an impasse of spending cuts aimed at reducing the deficit. McConnell says a plan proposed by a bipartisan group of senators is ready to go. It just needs to be approved by Senate Democrats. The plan would fund the government for 6 months and raise the debt ceiling through January 31st.
Well, Lady Liberty is open for business once again after being closed because of the government shutdown. The Statue of Liberty opened for business over the weekend for the first time since the shutdown. The state of New York has agreed to fund Liberty Island for 6 days, and after that it will be shut down once again until the government reopens.
All eyes are on the stock market today as the impasse in Washington could send stocks plummeting. Deborah Costrin has that and more in the Bloomberg Business Report.
Good morning. It could be a rough start to the week for stocks as the shutdown standoff continues in Washington and the U.S. moves closer to defaulting on its debt. Stocks did close higher on Friday on the short-lived hope that a debt default would soon be averted. And it is a big week for earnings with Google, Citigroup, also Coca-Cola, Intel, Amex, Goldman Sachs, General Electric, and Bank of America all reporting. But even if those results are positive, this could all be overshadowed by the prospect of a U.S. debt default. Now, if the U.S. defaults on its debt obligation, it would be the first major Western government to do so since Nazi Germany 80 years ago. Meantime, bad news for Social Security recipients, disabled veterans, and federal retirees. The Washington Post says preliminary figures suggest only a 1.5% cost of living increase in benefits for 2014. The exact number is not known because the shutdown has delayed the Labor Department's latest inflation figures. And coming up after this, Netflix is up to something new that could have a big impact on anyone with cable TV. Sources tell Bloomberg Netflix is in talks with Comcast, Time Warner, and TiVo to add its service as an app to the programming that cable TV operators currently offer. One source says that Netflix may cut a deal with TiVo first. That's business. At the New York Stock Exchange, I'm Deborah Costrin with the Bloomberg Business Report.
Hi, folks. Things look good on Interstate 78 through the Allentown area. Here we go by Hamilton Boulevard and Cedar Crest Boulevard. No accidents or unusual delays. Things seem to be moving smoothly up over the mountain as you get past Lehigh Street and split off for 309. A good ride into Lower Saucon and Upper Saucon townships. No problems here by Hellertown and 33. See manageable traffic volume as we head toward the Jersey line and see a bit of a crowd here by Morgan Hill Road. Let's check 22 And yeah, we're getting crowded now in the bridge work zone here at the Easton Phillipsburg Bridge. And a quick look here at the 309 in the Turnpike. Lots of volume now in South Whitehall Township on 22. In Berks County, the north end of 176, things seem to be flowing smoothly into the work zone here in Coomer Township. Later on, we'll have a look at 422. This new traffic light seems to be regulating traffic flow and keeping that ramp flushed here coming off of 422 eastbound. 222 looks good either side of 183 and up to the 2-lane where we're getting crowded now through Richmond and Maiden Creek Townships. That's your traffic brought to you by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. And I think it's time for Guess the Celebrity Birthdays already, is it? Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Okay.
It is time.
You know, I'm not even ready.
Goodbye.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, goodbye.
Oh, that's a pretty background you have.
Yeah. Never
I'll
see
be
that
back
one.
in just a second because
Okay.
I wasn't
Take your
even
time. We've
ready.
got a few hours.
We have some other troubles going on here in the traffic
Oh,
signal.
no. Troubles on a Monday.
Talk to us. What's
Yeah,
wrong?
it's just me making excuses.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Actually, October 14th birthdays.
Columbus Day.
Right here, I got my tear sheet ready. Sorry.
All right.
Okay.
R&B hip-hop artist who earned numerous awards for his 2004 album Confessions,
Usher.
which included Yeah and Burn. That's right. Usher is 35 today.
Okay.
Okay.
Real
Full
name
name,
is?
anybody?
Something
Something
Raymond.
Usher Raymond.
Usher Raymond IV.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, that's his name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
And he's on the cover of one of the men's health type magazines too.
Oh,
this
yeah?
month. Yeah.
Well, that's what you get when you're famous.
Right.
Yeah.
Look at him.
And in shape.
How about designer of polo fashions,
Ralph
fragrances,
Lauren.
and accessories? Yeah,
Ralph
Ralph Lauren, 74 today.
Oh.
And good thing I found this thing, huh?
Yeah.
British actor who replaced
Hello.
Sean
What?
Connery
Hello.
as James Bond.
Daniel Craig.
No, he replaced Sean Connery as James Bond. So we're going back a little bit.
Okay.
Back when he turned it into a little kind of campy, those movies.
Hold on. Roger Moore.
Roger Moore.
Happy.
I was going to give you the saint for the next clue.
Right.
Because he was the saint.
Right.
But how old is Roger Moore? He said.
Mike Kelly. 86.
He is 86.
Wow.
Way to go.
That's good.
How old's
Mike.
Sean Connery? I'm just throwing it
know.
out there, not for you in
I
particular.
don't think Mike
Anybody?
Kelly knows.
Anybody?
I just wonder.
No, I don't know.
I don't
Probably
know.
up there.
I can tell you next time.
Okay.
Who was your favorite Bond?
Sean Connery.
Yeah.
Oh.
You have to
Okay.
always go with the original.
Right.
Maybe I'm old-fashioned.
Yeah. Hey, Rick, not that you were old enough to know, but was that series like racy for that time?
What's that?
The Bond series with the girls and the,
Yeah, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, now people wouldn't bat an eye, but back
Sure.
then.
Well, we got the first glimpse of the bikini with the James Bond
Well,
movies.
good job on that part. Hey-o.
Okay.
Hello.
I'm all for it.
All right.
All right, guys, thanks.
Thanks, Rick.
Thank you, Rick. And stay with us. We'll be right back. The CDC says every year the flu season is unpredictable because the flu virus is constantly changing.
But one thing is for certain, the flu season has already started. WFMZ's Nancy Werteen tells us more in Life Lessons.
Experts say flu activity most commonly peaks in January or February, but the official start of the flu season is early October, so we've already begun. What can you do to protect yourself and your family? The signs are everywhere, signs that flu season is here.
The best thing you can do when, with flu season coming on is get yourself a flu vaccine.
Dr. Amit Gangoli, who specializes in infectious diseases at Sacred Heart Hospital in Allentown, says we should all get vaccinated as soon as possible. But some people say they get the flu from the flu shot. Is that possible?
For people who say that they got the flu from the influenza vaccine, it takes about 2 weeks after you get the flu vaccine for your body to develop antibodies. So during that period, if you've already been exposed, you could actually get the flu itself, and your vaccine never had time to really take effect.
If everyone else is getting a flu shot, why should you?
The more people you vaccinate, you raise the critical mass of people that are less likely to transmit it to other people.
His second tip, wash your hands often and the right way.
What you want to do is basically be able to wash them with soap and warm water and, be able to sing happy birthday to you twice.
Of course, there will be other nasty colds and viruses this winter, so clean surfaces that can harbor germs like computers and doorknobs. Don't touch your face throughout the day. Get plenty of rest, eat right, and stay away from people who are sick.
The incubation period, or the period of contagiousness for influenza, is about 8 days. You actually can transmit it 1 day before you develop the symptoms, and then for at least 7 days thereafter.
If you'd like to get a flu shot, you can go to our website at WFMZ.com to find out the latest information on where flu shots are available. Nancy Wertine, 69 News.
All right, Matt is back for another check of the forecast.
6:25. Good morning.
Hey, guys. Good morning. Yeah, no, not a bad start. We're dealing with, let's call it clear to partly cloudy skies, although I know some of you are dealing with some fog. Just looking at the eastern P-Bird camera, there is some fog over there near the Delaware. So just watch for that. Overall, as far as the official reporting stations go, there's really not a whole lot going on. But I know some of you are dealing with just a little bit of that. So be aware of that. We'll allow for some fog for the first few hours of the morning. All right, now we've got a bunch of upper 40s. Reading down to 49, Lehigh Valley at 49, Pottsville 48 degrees, Stroudsburg at 47. Most of those of you in Jersey are also either in the upper 40s or lower 50s. So it's a pretty similar start everywhere you go. You can see the range from 47 to 54, which is out at Harrisburg and York. And again, a pretty quiet start aside from just a bit of that patchy fog. How about yesterday? 68, average high 64, average low 42. Records 86 from 1975 and 29 from 1953. Neither of those in danger today. 7:13 sun up and the sunset time at 6:21. Reading hitting 69 yesterday after that low of 55 degrees. So turned out to be a good weekend. The key was that Saturday forecast. When we got up and got going, that sunshine was already out, and it just stayed out for a good portion of the time. So it worked out just fine. You can see here that shower activity off toward the north, but you'll notice the movement of that. It's north and northeast, so not really going to be affecting our area. I think as far as the first couple of days of the week, not too bad. Little patchy fog, otherwise times of clouds and sun. Let's go to 69. A northeast wind at 3 to 6 miles per hour. Overnight lows in the 40s, partly cloudy. Could be some patchy fog once again later on tonight. And then for tomorrow, temperatures into the low 70s. Tomorrow looks really good. Some fog to start. Otherwise, the sun should win out over the clouds. Wednesday looks mild as well. There are some timing differences amongst the models as far as Wednesday goes. The next front comes in. I would think the best chance as it stands for some rain would be in the afternoon. It may not turn out to be a whole lot. Behind that front, slightly cooler, but it looks dry for Thursday and Friday. All right, let's do a morning trivia question. All right.
All right.
Okay.
What's the current top pop song on Billboard? Safe and Sound, Roar, Holy Grail, or Wrecking Ball? Not to put that in your head. These are all obviously very popular.
I want to say Wrecking Ball. Asiel's favorite.
I'll go with Wrecking Ball.
You're both gonna just boom. Are you gonna lock it?
I'm going to lock mine. Gonna lock?
Holy Grail sounds tempting.
I know. I'm debating between C and D.
Yes, let's lock it to keep moving. Come on, Wrecking Ball.
All right, Wrecking Ball. Mario!
Oh, Roar.
Right?
Wow. Sorry about your luck, Miley.
Miley's ninth.
Oh.
I think because it's still somewhat new, even though we've heard it a million times.
Right.
It's so I'm sure she'll climb. But right now, it's the old Katy Perry.
Okay.
Okay.
We're doing all right in the music department now, right?
Yeah, I mean, there's some good
out there.
ones. Overplayed, though. That's some
that's
couple
the
of them are
issue. Yeah.
overplayed.
Yeah.
So.
Nice try, guys.
All right. Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
And we'll be right back. Stay with us. Well, we are off to another seasonal start as we kick off the work week. This is a live look over Easton now, a dark look from our Grand Estonian condominium camera.
Today on 69 News at Sunrise, a dog is found beaten and left for dead. The Senate race in New Jersey heats up.
And the ALCS is knotted up in dramatic fashion.
This is 69 News Live at Sunrise. Your life, your world, your news. 69 News Live at Sunrise starts now.
Good morning. I'm Hasiel Cordova along with Eve Tannery.
Let's take a look at the roads this morning with Rick Edwards. He's in the traffic center. Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, guys. Thank you very much. Not a bad ride around the Lehigh Valley. Now we're stuck in some traffic heading into Phillipsburg here through the bridge work. Every once in a while we stack up back to Cemetery Curve. A little relief right now as we get moving. You know, they've stepped it up here in this big project, the bridge work here. So every once in a while they stop traffic to shift things around. So we had one stoppage earlier this morning. It could happen again as we get moving here in and out of New Jersey. No trouble through Whitehall and South Whitehall townships as traffic volume continues to build, but everything is moving nicely there past Cedar Crest Boulevard and 309. Lots of westbound volume here heading toward the Turnpike or perhaps the merge with Interstate 78. Here we are at the north end of the construction zone, or the north end of 176 through the short construction run here, but that ramp stays clear for the most part from 422 because of that new traffic light in Cumru Township. That's your traffic brought to you by the Brown Daub family of dealerships. Visit browndobcharities.com. Now over to the Weather Center. Good morning, Matt Broderick.
All right, Rick, good morning. Thanks very much. Temperatures 40s to lower 50s as of right now. You can see Stroudsburg down to 46, Lehigh Valley and Reading both at 49 degrees, Pottsville at 48. Then you head out toward Harrisburg and York. Boy, they had a rough time of it late last week with more than 9 inches of rain reported at Harrisburg and the airport there. So a tough time of it. Matter of fact, there's still some flood warnings out in parts of those rivers and streams and creeks. You can see those temperatures off toward the north. Scranton, Wilkes-Barre at 51, Philly right now at 53. Most of New York and the metro area there into the middle 50s as we speak. It's a pretty quiet start. I think overall, aside from some of that fog around, especially near some of the waterways, you're dealing with decent conditions to start off. Here's the setup for today. High pressure off toward the north and the east of us. Now, as far as most of the cloud cover with some drizzle and light rain, that occurs down toward the south of us. For us, we expect dry conditions. There are a couple of showers west, but those are moving toward the north and northeast. So dry conditions expected through the day today with that mixture of clouds and sunshine. 49 degrees at 8 o'clock, 64 at noon, and 68 by 5 o'clock this afternoon. 6-day forecast in just a few more minutes. Even Hasiel, back over to you.
Thank you, Matt. Officials from an animal shelter in Monroe County want to know who beat a 3-year-old dog and tied it to a tree.
Lacey, a puggle mix, was discovered last week, and now officials are trying to track down her owners. WFMZ's Catherine Hawley has the story.
She's a sweet dog who's been through a lot. Officials at Awesome Animal Shelter say Lacey was abused, then left tied to a tree.
When she picked the dog up, what she found was kind of horrifying.
This is what the 3-year-old pup looked like when she was found. Bruises all over her body, her fur full of fleas, her ears infected, and suffering from a highly infectious disease called mange.
It also seems like she either was confined to a cage or some kind of a short area, because from the immobility of the dog, she has a lot of scarring and what we call leathering of the skin, where the hair is all gone and the skin is now really, really tough.
Lacey is in isolation right now, and she has to stay there for at least 2 weeks before she's healthy enough to join the other animals. Shelter workers are also monitoring her because she suffers from seizures.
She's under basically 24-hour watch at our place.
Carboni says after Lacey was found, a local vet scanned her microchip and discovered the canine had been adopted from Awesome. According to shelter records, a woman from Stroudsburg took Lacey home in February of 2012. Now, all they want are answers.
We're trying to locate the last registered owner and speak to her about, what happened to the dog since that point.
Carboni says he wants Lacey to find a good home, but she's not back up for adoption yet. If you know anything about her previous owner, please call the shelter. Catherine Hawley, 69 News.
Crews in Lebanon County continue to fill in a massive sinkhole that opened on Friday. 8 homes in Palmyra Township had to be evacuated. Officials aren't sure what caused the sinkhole, but say Friday's heavy rain didn't help. Neighbors say it sounded like a bomb went off when the hole opened up.
One of the houses, they can't open their doors or close any doors. The foundation has shifted that much.
Neighbors say sinkholes in the area are a recurring problem.
Well, state police have identified a New York City man who was killed in a crash on the Pennsylvania Turnpike over the weekend. Officials say 35-year-old Jack Kodish died after a deer crashed through his windshield around 9:30 on Saturday morning in Washington Township. Police say he was pronounced dead after he was transported to Palmerton Hospital. And an elderly woman was killed over the weekend after her car caught fire in an accident in Schuylkill County. This happened on Saturday afternoon on Route 125 and Mollystown Road in Tremont. Officials say 73-year-old Barbara Schuster died in the crash, but a passenger in the car was pulled to safety by some Good Samaritans. 5 men had to smash a window on the car to save the life of a 64-year-old woman. Her condition has not been released.
Police in Montgomery County are trying to figure out where 2 teens may have gotten their hands on synthetic marijuana. Police in Limerick Township say they found teenagers unconscious after smoking synthetic pot last week. A 13-year-old and a 17-year-old both had to be rushed to the hospital in separate incidents. Both are expected to recover. Police are asking anyone with information to give them a call.
Police in Reading are looking into a shooting. It happened yesterday morning in the 200 block of North 10th Street. Officials have not released many details about the case. Right now, it's still not clear just how many victims there are or how badly anyone was hurt.
Former Arizona Congresswoman Gabrielle Giffords visited a gun show over the weekend, her first since being shot during a 2011 assassination attempt. Giffords and her husband Mark Kelly appeared at the Saratoga Spring Arms Fair yesterday. The couple say that they are gun owners who support gun rights, but they are pushing for stricter gun control laws. Giffords has pushed for a federal law which requires background checks for those who buy firearms at gun shows.
Voters will head to the polls this week in New Jersey in a special election to replace the late Senator Frank Lautenberg.
Newark Mayor Cory Booker and Republican challenger Steve Lonegan are looking to fill the seat and have been heavily campaigning in the Garden State. Allison Bybee has the latest on the race.
Wow, this is amazing.
Republican candidate Steve Lonegan took his stumping to the racetrack Saturday.
When we go to Washington on October 17th, it's going to be Barack Obama, Nancy Pelosi, and Harry Reid that are going to fold.
Hundreds of Lonegan voters packed the New Egypt Speedway to not only see the Republican candidate for the empty U.S. Senate seat, but also...
Thank you, New Jersey!
Former Alaska governor and vice presidential candidate Sarah Palin.
You can send them Steve. Steve won't forget where he came from.
Nice to meet you as well.
In other parts of the state, Democratic candidate Cory Booker made the rounds to meet voters. Saturday was Booker's first day back on the campaign trail since the death of his father on Thursday. He highlighted what he would do if he held the seat left vacant by the late Frank Lautenberg, who died in June. As far as Lonegan's stop with Palin, Booker says that event helps clarify the distinctions between the two candidates.
Sarah Palin, Rick Perry, Rand Paul, all the people that he's been affiliating himself within this don't represent the mainstream of the Republican Party. They represent the far-right Tea Party. So that's who he is.
The special U.S. Senate election is Wednesday. Whoever wins the seat will complete the final 15 months of the term of Lautenberg.
Anything can happen in the postseason.
Still to come this morning, the Boston Red Sox give their fans something to cheer for late in last night's ALCS showdown with Detroit. We have a recap.
And don't forget to weigh in on our WFMZ Facebook page or on Twitter at 69 News about that proposal to boost the speed limit to 70 miles per hour on Pennsylvania interstates and the Turnpike. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Big Papi comes up big for the Bo Sox. The Boston Red Sox were down 4-1 in the bottom of the 8th last night in Game 2 of the ALCS against the Detroit Tigers when David Ortiz hit a grand slam to tie things up. Red Sox pitcher Jared Saltalamacchia capped off the comeback in the bottom of the 9th when he drove in the game-winning run. The Red Sox take a 6-5 win and are now tied with the Tigers at 1 game apiece. The series continues on Tuesday in Detroit.
Well, the Dallas Cowboys have crept into first place in the NFC East after last night's big showdown with the Washington Redskins. Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo had 170 passing yards and threw for 1 touchdown. Romo's job was made a little easier yesterday with Dwayne Harris's 86-yard punt return that resulted in a touchdown. Harris had 222 total return yards on the day. The Cowboys get a 31-16 win and are now 3-3 on the season. The Redskins' record stands at 1-4.
The Philadelphia Eagles took the field yesterday against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
WFMZ's Jim Vaughn has that, plus all of Sunday's NFL action in sports.
The Eagles are certainly no strangers to quarterback controversies. They've had more than their share over the last few years. And after Sunday's game and the performance Nick Foles put forth, they may be in for another this coming week. Eagles and the Bucs. Foles subbing in for the injured Mike Vick, still nursing that sore hamstring. First play of the game, a good start here. Well, of course, it helps to have Shady McCoy in your backfield. Foles dumps it off to LaShawn McCoy on the screen, and there goes Shady. Run, Shady, run. 44 yards into Tampa territory. McCoy ended up with 171 total yards, and that set up this. Later that drive, who says Vic's the only one that can run for the quarterback spot? Foles draw play up the middle, 4-yard touchdown, 7-0 Eagles. Second quarter, though, back comes the Bucs here. It's now 7-3. Mike Glennon to Vincent Jackson, 24-yard touchdown. First of 2 touchdowns for Jackson in this game, 10-7 Tampa Bay. Later in the second, Eagles answer. Foles with time goes to Deshaun Jackson. Back of the end zone, 12-yard score, so the Eagles are back on top, 14-10. Third quarter, they're now down again at 17-14. Foles going to show off his deep ball here. Uncorks it to Riley Cooper. Cooper had a career those 4 touchdown, 21-17 Eagles. And in the fourth quarter, it's now 21-20. Foles going to go deep again off the play fake, and this time it's Deshaun Jackson again. 36-yard touchdown there, second of the day for Jackson. Nick Foles, subbing for Vic, goes 22 of 31 for 296 yards and a career-high 3 touchdowns, and he ran for the 4th score. So a quarterback controversy may be among us. Eagles win 31-20, the final score. They get Dallas in a big one next week. They'll look at the rest of the day's action now in the red zone. We pick things up in the Meadowlands where the Steelers finally picked up a win. Ben Roethlisberger found Emmanuel Sanders for the 55-yard scoring pass. That's the only touchdown in this game. Steelers got 4 field goals from Sean Sweezum. And finally, a big performance from the defense. They intercepted Geno Smith twice. They didn't allow a touchdown. And the Steelers are winless no more. They beat the Jets 19-6. In Arrowhead, the Kansas City defense went off on the Raiders. They had 10 sacks and 3 interceptions, one of which Hussein Abdullah took back here for a 44-yard touchdown. Jamal Charles totaled 128 yards and 2 touchdowns on the offensive end. And Andy Reid's Chiefs are now 6-0. They beat the Raiders 24-7. In Baltimore, Aaron Rodgers threw for 315 yards, including this 64-yard touchdown pass to Jordy Nelson. Packers got 120 yards on the ground from Eddie Lacy, 4 field goals from Mason Crosby. Joe Flacco threw for 342 yards and 2 scores in a losing effort. Not enough, though. Packers grind past the Ravens 19-17. In Cleveland, Matthew Stafford threw 4 touchdown passes. 3 of them went to Joseph Fourier, this one a 10-yarder, and the Lions take over first place in the NFC North thanks to a 31-17 win over the Browns. In Buffalo, Andy Dalton threw for 337 yards and 3 touchdowns to 3 different receivers. That one an 18-yarder to A.J. Green. Green had 103 receiving yards. The Bengals would build a 14-point fourth-quarter lead. The Bills would rally and force overtime, but in OT, Mike Nugent knocked through the 43-yard game-winning field goal, and the Bengals beat the Bills in overtime 27-24. In Houston, after Matt Schaub left the game with an injury, T.J. Yates came in, and with his team about to score there, he threw the interception to Alec Ogletree, and Ogletree would take it back 98 yards for a touchdown. The Texans had nearly twice as many total yards and offensive plays as the Rams in this game, but the Rams get the win, and they win easily, 38-13 the final. In Minnesota, Adrian Peterson decided to play just 2 days after his 2-year-old son died from that brutal beating. Peterson, a lot of love from teammates and opponents before the game. Once the game started, though, it was all Carolina. Cam Newton threw 3 touchdown passes. This one a 79-yard strike to Brandon LaFell. Newton also ran for a touchdown in this game, and the Panthers pound the Vikings 35-10. In San Fran, Vernon Davis had 8 catches for 180 yards and 2 long touchdown catches from Colin Kaepernick. This one a 61-yard score. Frank Gore added 101 yards on the ground, and the 49ers beat the Cardinals 32-20. In Seattle, Marshawn Lynch racked up 155 total yards and 2 touchdowns as the Seahawks topped the Titans Titans 20-13. In Denver, it was a matchup between arguably the best team in football and the worst team in football. Biggest spread in NFL history, 28 points, but it was more competitive than people thought it would be. Justin Blackmon had 190 receiving yards for Jacksonville. Jaguars forced 3 Peyton Manning turnovers on the day, but ultimately the Broncos still won. Noshan Moreno over 100 total yards, including 3 touchdown runs, and the Broncos stay unbeaten while the Jaguars stay winless. 35-19 the final there. And in Foxborough, an unbelievable ending between the Saints and the Patriots. Drew Brees hit Kenny Stills for the 34-yard touchdown here. That gave the Saints the lead with just 3.5 minutes to play, and they had chances to put it away, but they couldn't do it, and Tom Brady would make them pay. He led New England on a 70-yard drive in the final minute and capped it off with a 17-yard go-ahead touchdown to Kembrell Tompkins with just 5 seconds left. Vintage game-winning drive by Tom Brady as the Patriots slipped by the Saints in a thriller, 30-27. First loss of the year there for New Orleans. Well, in many high school sports, the postseason gets underway this week. The high school soccer, field hockey, and volleyball playoffs will begin this week in the Lehigh Valley Conference, the Colonial League, and also in Berks County. In fact, it all begins tonight, so stay tuned to 69 Sports throughout this coming week. We will have recaps and highlights of the high school conference playoffs, and again, that all starts later on tonight. And there's a look at sports. Enjoy your Monday.